Hi everybody, thanks for joining us. Hi everyone who's joining us on Facebook too. We're just waiting to get live on all our Facebook platforms because we're going to be live today on Professional Beauty and our Hairdressers Journal and our Island platform as well. So we're just waiting for the connection. But thank you very much for joining us again for our Professional Beauty Group's Upskills series. So hopefully we should be live on all very soon. I'm Eve Oxbury, I'm editor of Professional Beauty. Our live session today is on the 5 mistakes that lose salons money and of course how to fix them. So thank you for joining us for this session. It's the first actually in a 3-part business skills series that we are doing with the fabulous Valerie Delforge, who you can see with me here. Hi Valerie.
Hello, Eve. Hello, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today and for the next 3 sessions, next 3 Thursdays, isn't it? Or
Yeah, it's fantastic to have you for a series. I think it's great to kind of give people the information. There's so much to kind of cram into a webinar. So it's great to have 3 sessions to talk about stuff and get everyone's questions answered.
You know, I love talking about all this. So yes, very excited to be with you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure.
Well, thank you for joining us. Valerie, as many of you will know already, probably is a business coach for the beauty, spa and hair markets and has previously run some quite big operations for companies like Steiner and Bliss and lots of others. So yeah, Valerie knows loads about running salon operations. So I think we are good and connected and live everywhere. So if you have any questions for Valerie as we go along, then if you're watching with us in the webinar platform, just pop them in the comments box or the chat box or the Q&A box. If you're watching on any of our Facebook pages, then just type them in the comments and they'll get through to us here to answer live at the end. But Valerie is going to have a presentation, so I will turn off my camera to let you present.
Fabulous. So I shall share now. Yes, we up and running. I will share and present. Here we go. Are we okay? Is it all functioning? Are we seeing the presentation?
It looks great to me. So I'm going to disappear now and I'll pop back in at the end. Thank you, Valerie.
So I'm going to put my clock on because I tend to talk a lot and we have 25-30 minutes top, so we can answer all of the questions afterwards. So I will be with you for 45 minutes and we're going to talk about the 5 mistakes that loses salons monies, and really it's all about at the moment what I can see, what is happening at the moment for your salon. So I have, like Eve said, I'm a consultant. I've been a consultant for 7 years now and really focusing on beauty salons, hair salons that are, and clinics as well as spas that are really needing that one-to-one coaching. But we've created a whole online platform with all sorts of different training available and all sorts of downloads. So it's been a huge journey. And for the next 3 sessions, so today we're going to talk about the 5 mistakes that loses salon money. On the 11th, at the same time, we're going to talk about how to set and achieve realistic targets for 2021. So this is a big one. This is a question that keeps coming to me. And on the 18th, we'll talk about retail because I'm obsessed with retail. It is one of my obsessions. All of my career has been very much retail-led and implementing retail culture within the salons. So I cannot wait for all of this. And today, let's start with the mistake number 1 that I am seeing, that I'm talking to my members all the time, that I feel we're not reviewing enough. It's your opening hours. And the mistake number 1 what tend to happen with the opening hours is it's kind of a routine. Or we've been open like this for a long time. You know, a lot of it is we're finding a struggle to find the good staff on certain times, for example, Sundays or late nights. So we tend to do the rota to suit the staff rather than the staff rota to suit the business. So we don't really review the opening hours, but when I review the opening hours, I review it with the budget in mind and really analyzing those hours, opening hours that you have. And it's something, an exercise that you might have done on the first lockdown last year before the reopening. You might not have considered it, but I really want you to focus on the financial of your opening hours, what work and what doesn't. So why are the opening hours so important? So of course, they're going to answer to a demand. So you might have a demand, for example, I've got one of the clients in London who is very much evening. So it's outside, on the outside of zone 2 of London. So evening is very important to her, and also weekends. So we've got to answer the demand to some extent. But they are, as far as I'm concerned, the heart of creating your budget. They really are there to make sure that you're taking as much money as possible within those busy time. And to me, they are defining your business potential. You know, they're defining what you can potentially take. So your rota becomes your bread and butter. You know, I call it the bread and butter. It's such an important element of your business. The opening hours are everything when we create that budget. So the solution, when we create a rota, we tend to do a rota, and when I talk to a lot of clients and you know, people, they kind of said to me, well, yeah, but I've got this person who can do this part-time hours. I've got this person on an evening. I've got this person, you know, who can do Saturdays. So I'm okay with having part-timers. I'm okay with having all the different kind of rota that suits their lifestyle, because it has to be a give-give situation. But what I do when I look at the opening hours, I create my ideal rota. If you had a magic wand, what would your ideal rota be? And then from that, I plot in who it is that I'm taking on board, or your existing staff. But it's very important to then analyze your busy time and your quiet times, because if it doesn't serve you, if it doesn't suit you, you've got to make sure that it's relevant for your business. It's not just about the rota that suits the staff, it also needs to suit your business. Another way as well of looking at it is that you are in charge of your diary. So if you decide to close on a Sunday and Monday, you've always been open before, but now you want to do a 5-day rota and have always the same thing together, it's a great idea. And you have the part-timers in between. Absolutely. And the clients will kind of come in when you are open, and as long as your marketing is on top, etc., it's great. So you are in charge of your diary. But again, it needs to be reviewed on your budget, because if there is a huge demand on a Sunday, what can we do in order to answer that demand? So it's all about analyzing through the budget that you are setting up. So consider a couple of things, and we've done a few rotas with a few members, and I call it the staff wellness formula. One of my members said, Valerie, I'd like to really give back. I want to give every other weekend to my full-time therapist, and the part-timers will come in. So we've created the ideal rota. We've given the therapists every other Saturdays off. I'm fine with it. I have absolutely no issue with that, because I believe that's part of the staff wellness formula. That's amazing. You know, it's amazing to be able to give back. And we talk a lot about mental health at the moment. So to be able to give back on that way is great. But as long as you know your budget and it's not affecting, because you might have to recruit more people to cover the demand on a Saturday, for example. And as long as you're creating a forecast of what is that going to cost you, and how much money can you generate, and how many people can you have into your rota. So it goes back to really understanding the demand, really understanding what you want for your staff, but review it. And even if you reviewed it last year from the first lockdown, review it again for when we open. It's so important that the opening hours work for you as a business. Really, really important. There's a lot of conversation that we're having at the moment. The mistake number 2, and that's one of my favorite kind of subject, and it's all about leadership. And you're going to think, why is this affecting my bottom line? But it's the micromanaging. And by micromanaging, I want to kind of really go through the confessions of a micromanager. And it's all about, you know, oh, it's easier if I do it myself. Everyone's doing mistakes anyway, so I may as well do it myself. I'll do it in between this and that. You know, the kids are in front of the computer doing homeschooling. I do it whilst they're there. Maybe I'll do a bit of that when they've gone to bed. And, you know, oh, my team don't have the skills anyway, so I may as well do it myself. You know, it's fine. I can work around it. You know, I just can't trust everyone, because something happened to me a couple of years ago and I really trusted that person, and actually all went pear-shaped. So when we look at that, how is that affecting your salon? Is that for you as a leader, the more your mindset is strong, the more your mindset is focused, the more you are focused on your business, the more you will be on top of what needs to happen. So when your micromanagement, the whole kind of, no, I'd rather do it myself, I'm just going to take it all and do it all, you feel overwhelmed. It could have an effect on the mindset because it feels like it's never ending. You're in that spirit, you're in that wheel, you're in that hamster wheel, and it just doesn't end because you've got too many focuses. You've listened to this, you've listened to that, I did to do this. And we are not just a salon owner anymore. We are basically a marketer, a PR person. We do all the networking, all the operation. So we've got a lot of things that are happening. And on top of that, we're not developing the team members that we have. And perhaps they have skills that can really help you. So why I love delegation so much is because to really understand delegation, to really understand leadership of your business, we need to understand that delegation empowers others. And by empowering others, you feel empowered yourself and you have time to actually work on your business. So delegation is a soft skill of leadership that is crucial to learn as much as possible. The solution to micromanagement is dissect your to-do list. And I keep saying that again and again. It goes back to your time management. It goes back to understanding the time management, because it's really about dissecting all the little tasks that you have to do. So it's that famous sentence, isn't it? How do we eat an elephant in small bite chunks? Because we are going to slowly but surely take away that to-do list and make sure we're working on it. By delegating, you're basically empowering other staff and their skills. It's very much an empowerment. So you, however, as an owner, will have to suddenly, or a manager will have to suddenly make time for training. But it's only as good as if you're following up. So when I delegate something to somebody, I make sure that I follow up. And the key to delegation, if there's one key to give you, is to ensure that you give a deadline. So I was talking to someone and said, oh yeah, I've asked them to do this, but they haven't done it. Did you tell them when you wanted it by? Oh, well, no, I thought they would do it. No, when we delegate, we're very detailed. And the more you feel that things are happening, the more you can work on other things. The other thing you can look at as well is outsourcing. So we've just launched a PA service, for example, in the Delforge Group, because we've realized there was a lot of people that needed help. And by outsourcing your to-do list or certain things, it's been on your mind for a long time and you've been wanting to work on it, but you haven't got the time, you've got the kids, etc. You're able to work on things you haven't had time to do before. So mistake number 3, if you follow me, you will know that I talk a lot about Flossie. And Flossie is your difficult staff member. Flossie is the one that is giving you an attitude, is the one that basically is coming in and you can't talk to her until she had a coffee, or him, because she's in a bad mood and she has got that negative effect on you and the business and the others. She tends to drag everyone down, Flossie. She's very good at that. But unfortunately, sometimes Flossie is the one that performs. And that's why we don't want to touch Flossie, because actually she's doing really, really well. Now, I gave a name to Flossie because I was doing a lot of public speaking and I kept talking about people, and I thought I'm going to be sued at one point. So that's why I talk about the difficult staff member being Flossie. And unfortunately, Flossie is the one sometimes that performs, and she knows she performs. So therefore, she's giving you a little bit of a hard time. She's got an attitude, she's got a bit of bad vibes. She's really unfocused. She unfocuses you as a leader because you've got something to do, and suddenly she's coming in and it's like, oh, got to deal with her today or him today. She's a little bit of the queen of the castle. Nothing happens because, I'm the best and, she needs me kind of thing. But it is a bad apple within your team. Now, there's a few solutions with Flossie. And I work very much with individual development plans. I love working with individual development plans. I believe that they're the only thing that monitor the performance of your staff. The only thing that monitors what you need to do in order to consistently, and that's a word, yes, consistently, I'm being French right now, yeah, on a consistent level, that's better, to make sure that you are focusing on the performance of your staff. You cannot afford anymore as a salon owner to have someone that's not performing. You cannot afford to open the doors with someone with a bad attitude and creating that bad attitude. But if we focus on the staff productivity, and we will brush up on that a lot on the next session next week, you know, we then have a productivity from the staff that generates money that makes sense within your business. And we will look at KPIs and everything else to, you know, all the key performance indicators that allow you to have a strong business. For me, it's all about regular meetings and know when you're going to open the door. You're going to be, I'm too busy, we need to make money. The only way you're going to make money is by focusing that team and by ensuring that the team is really listened to. So create your regular meeting. The minute we know when we open, have those meetings on the books. They are in there in a diary and they don't bulge. And I'm talking about individual meetings. I'm talking about team meeting. You know, your quarterly appraisal should be happening every quarter. This is how much you've achieved. This is how much I want you to achieve next quarter. You know, by any means that you can, you've got to floss that flossy. We've got to look at what we can do in order to not have that action, that kind of attitude anymore. Because it doesn't serve you, it's not served you before. Before we were so scared of managing that or of recruitment that we were not dealing with it at all, because she's good, she's bringing money, etc. Now we cannot afford to do that. And sometimes it's better to have less people, but they are they are very, very productive and very, very much bringing in the money, rather than have more people and 3 of those flossies are actually being a nightmare to your mindset and your business. It does not serve you anymore. So we have got an HR department now, because we've realized this with leadership is definitely in 2021. I believe that's going to be one of the perhaps strongest and most difficult aspect of 2021 is managing all this part-time furloughing staff. So you've got to feel on top of all of those attitudes. Mistake number 4, and I think we have kind of brushed up on it, but we haven't, and that's all about the customer journey. You might have done it last year on the first lockdown, but I give you a few examples of customer journeys that we've experienced in between lockdown with my trainer when we did mystery shops. You know, with all the PPE, the customer journey has been massively affected. You know, all the special little treats that you were giving away or doing basically are not as much anymore, because we've been so PPE focused. And of course we have to, there's no way around that. But the value of the treatment now means something. And I want to tell you a quick story about going to the hairdresser that I have down my road. And I've used the hairdresser for a long time. It was not, you know, it was nothing special. They didn't even know my name every time I was going there. And my friend kind of introduced me to a nice hairdresser down the bottom of my road. And she said, just go there. It's absolutely wonderful. Yes, it's more expensive, but it's wonderful. So I went there. I had, you know, when you go there, you've got you choose your scent, you've got a head massage, you open your eyes after 5 minutes, which is amazing. You then have a little glass of champagne. You know, it was just absolutely wonderful experience. And the value of my money that I was spending for my hair, it was perfect consultation. I did a balayage instead of highlights, which was better for my hair. Everything was perfect. So I didn't mind spending that money, even though it was almost £100 more than my old hairdresser, because I felt like the queen. When I came back in between the lockdown, there was no more champagne, there was no more head massage. I could hardly understand anything. It was very cold. I didn't know my name. So suddenly the money I was spending, that extra £100 I was spending, had a value. And I thought, I'm not sure I want to go back. So what can we do to really revisit the customer journey? Look at your treatments. What are you doing? The bookings, how do we do the bookings? Are they good? Are they not good? Is it easy? Is it simple? What are your retail offering? Have you looked at impulse buys, the professional attitude? That's why we want to floss the flossy. You know, the merchandising has a lot to do because we can't touch anymore. So how can we have perhaps shelf talkers that talk about the products, a big poster about the ethos of the companies that you're using? How do we answer the phone is a big training that we do with my trainer, because that in itself engages and highlights all opportunities. The warmth of the place, not necessarily, well, feeling warm is one thing, definitely for sure, but feeling kind of you are belonging still to that amazing salon that you're happy with. The reviews, so important. What happens at reception is crucial. You know, the consultation, revisit all of that, the welcoming. And I'm a huge fan of the welcome pack for new clients. But if you do the welcome pack, be sure that you are doing something for your existing clients. So revisit in in really tiny detail. How do I feel when I come in and I see everyone in PPE, all of these barriers that make me feel a little bit uneasy? What can I do in order to feel special? I strongly believe as a client, you are going to have less competition, because unfortunately we are losing a lot of salons around us. But for you, we are going to look, as a client, we're going to look for established, really strong businesses, businesses that make you feel so special. So to me, if I was doing some focuses for my team, it's all about rebooking. And that customer loyalty program, you want to make sure that client stays with you, that don't go somewhere else. They really stay with you. They stay and they look at the loyalty program. And it's all about follow-ups, 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 follow-ups. If someone came in and spent a lot of money in between, you know, once you open, can't we give them a quick call to see how they're getting on with their new retail, for example, that they've purchased? It's all about taking care of that client, that when they come to you, you know, it's all happening for them. We have seen a huge number of new clients with my, you know, with the salons that I'm looking after, new clients coming into the business. What do we do with them? What is the customer loyalty program? Now, someone said to me, well, I don't really want to talk about the customer loyalty program because actually, you know, they've got so many points, suddenly they're going to want to redeem all the points, and then I'm kind of not going to have money coming in. Fine, so can we create something like a membership or a VIP club? What is it that we can do to make those clients feel super special? And the mistake number 5, last but not least, and I feel I've done really well with my timing, we'll have time for nice talk, is your database. And that's something I go on and on about, because sometimes we are so busy to really get all the social media and everything else up and running, which is great. But it's not just about that when we talk about marketing strategy. What I find with the database is sometimes it's hardly updated. There is a lot of mistakes or duplications, or no telephone numbers, or we don't have people's birthdays if that's a focus, so we can't send them any birthday discount, that kind of thing. You know, it's not utilized to its full potential. We're not using also the database to really target the marketing. So if I'm going to receive an email on pregnancy massage, for example, which happened to me a while ago, you know, that's definitely not for me. So therefore, I want you to talk to me about skincare, about my hair that's dry, about, you know, the balayage that I've had before. So how do we target market is probably one of the most important, but you've got the database. It's there. You've got your client on there, updated. And that's the solution. Every time updated, put someone on there that is basically in charge of updating the database. If they haven't been with you for 6 months to a year, what can we do to wake those clients up? You know, separate your new clients. If your new clients have been with you in between the lockdowns and they've not come back, what can we do for them to come back? Can we call them? Can we send them a specific email? Can we engage with them again? Targeting your marketing is targeting for the service that they've come, and what can we do in between? So usually I used to do a generic email to my database, and then I used to do an email very targeted for certain specific issues that I wanted to focus on. And then we're going to create a monthly plan of action when it comes to your database. You've got the clients, it's there, they love you already, they're fans. So let's work on the database as much as what you're doing online. So really, when we look at the database, it's back to basics. And something that we've noticed here at the Delforge Group with all the members, one of the best form of marketing for 2020 wasn't email, wasn't social, it was actually calling your clients, keeping that connection with your clients to make sure that they value you and they value the fact that you are in the community. And that call, that call to the new clients, that call to your VIP clients to check how they are, to let them know you've got a little offer is actually really, really valuable to those clients. So really focus on that. So laser sharp focused, really, as far as I'm concerned at the moment, we've got your opening hours, your delegation, your flosses, your customer journey, and your database. For me, if you focus on that already, you are on a very strong path to feel better for 2021. So the next one, we're going to look at realistic target for 2021. It'll be for your business, but also on an individual level. There is a download for 10 salon mistakes that hurt your bottom line. I did this blog a long time ago. We've got it on the website, but don't worry, we'll put the link at the end of this session. And we're also going to give you a discount of 10% coupon for all the online training that we've created here at the Delforge Group. And we will put all these links after the live. I cannot believe I have done this on time.
Super quick. Thanks, Valerie. That's perfect.
I know.
Perfect timing.
Have I stopped sharing?
But it was really succinct and explained all the points, I think, that really well. We've had lots of good comments as we've gone along. We've had a couple of questions pop up as we go along, but if anyone wants to ask any questions, now's the time to get them in. So if you're watching in Zoom, just type them into the chat. You can see the little chat box at the bottom. And if you're watching over on Facebook, put them in the comments. Just had one pop up saying, absolutely loved this. Thank you so much. So there you go, some positive feedback to kick off.
All about focus, isn't it? It's all about focus.
We have had one question here in Zoom, which is, do you have any advice for sole traders? I work on my own now.
So with sole traders, I think it's the same really when you look at the database. You've got a database, carry on connecting with that database. Obviously, you wouldn't have flosses, but it's really about keeping that mindset strong. So a lot of sole traders I focus with, I deal with, and that are my clients. We talk a lot about mindset and a lot about looking at your costs, covering your costs whilst you're being closed. Yeah, working on your marketing is one of the most important aspects of your business at the moment, for sure. So, but focus on that database, really. Your opening hours as well, are they suiting you? Are you doing too many things? I talk a lot about with the sole traders, I do it for when I get the demand. Why? Why is that serving you? Could you revisit your hours? So maybe you do 2 late nights and you do a Saturday or whatever, revisit those hours. I think that's quite important.
Sure, they have to work for you as well as your clients, absolutely.
Sure.
Had a question just come in from Jill, which is, do you think now is a good time to take on an apprentice? I opened in September 2019 and currently work alone. There are lots of government incentives. Is it too much of a risk right now?
I mean, do you know what? I love apprenticeships in the fact that I feel that we're giving back in some respect and we're training as well. So I don't think it's too much of a risk. The only risk you're getting on an apprenticeship, whether we've got the pandemic or not, or help from the government, is just finding the right one. That's always the issue, isn't it? Finding the right person. So I don't think I've got a client who's consistent with the apprenticeships, and I think is great. I think if you've got a strong connection with perhaps a local, the local colleges, etc. as well, you can. I've got a client who's doing a lot of talks with them and keep that. I think it's good. I don't think there's as much risk as there used to be before. It's just finding the right person. So it goes back to your training training and onboarding. What training do you have? You know, I'm a huge fan when I talk about customer journey, I also talk about the staff journey. So what training is available? What is their staff wellness formula? How do we function? You know, that kind of thing. I hope that answered.
I think so, definitely. Another question we've had is you mentioned about really interesting advice about clients not feeling special with PPE, etc. What should I tell my team to change about the way that they act with clients?
For me, it's going back to a bit of consultation, and it's being back to how do we do that consultation. When the hairdresser that I mentioned, you know, kind of saw me, there was hardly any talk, and he was standing up, and obviously there was noise around, and there was, like, you know, the thing, and he was talking to me, but he had his mask and he had his visor, so I'm a little bit deaf, and on top of that I'm just like, I can't hear a word he's telling me, but I'm trusting him because he's, you know, he knows my hair and he's done it before. But it was that lack of, there was just that lack of interaction with me. I think if he had sat down next to me, you know, social distancing and looking at me in the eyes. So it's all about, I talk a lot about body language when we do consultation, and just really discuss what he was going to do with me. Even 2 minutes, it would have made me feel a lot better and a lot more comfortable. And that's why I invite you to revisit that customer journey. If the consultation is not possible where you normally do it, how can you do it? Is it reception that takes over some of that part? You know, let's look at that customer welcome pack, for example. For clients, maybe we don't want to hand something out, but maybe it's a PDF letter that you send them, and it's not an automated software kind of you know, email. It's much more, I personally think it needs to be personalized. Everything needs to feel like, oh, they're so happy to have me. Does that make sense? So I feel like I want to go back, and I was spending, and on top of that, they increased. So not only I was spending 100 quid more from where I used to go, I didn't mind. It was an amazing time. But on top of that, they increased something like 70 quid for all the PPE and all that jazz. So now the money I'm spending has a value, and now I don't feel good. So how can you make me feel good in between?
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense, because I think particularly if you're in a position where you do need to cut your costs, increase your prices because your costs have increased, then you need to show some extra value to clients. It makes complete sense.
For sure, but equally when you know your budget, and that's why I do business audits, I really understand the core of the business through the audits, through understanding what is happening with the business. Sometimes we've not had to put the prices up that high, you know, so I think we've kind of got carried away last year. But actually, when you do the business audit, it's really important to kind of know the numbers, because do you have to increase it that much? Equally, it doesn't mean that because we've done it last year, we can't look at it this year again. You know, if you feel you adding to the customer journey.
Absolutely. And another question we just had through is from Rachel, who says, what sort of things do you put in a welcome pack? So if you are doing a welcome pack for clients.
Oh, I love welcome packs. So, I mean, what we did with when I opened You Are Beautiful in Kingston, which is part of Urban Retreat, we realized actually no one knew us, and it was first floor of Boots, and actually it was 2008, so it was bang on the recession as well. So it was like, how am I going to engage with my clients? So we used to have a simple letter, and this is what I mean, if we don't want to hand anything else, you know, we used to put in a gold envelope and hand it out to the client. We could very much send it on an email, which is very easy. But we used to have on there, you know, for your next visit, we'd like you to enjoy a complimentary eyebrow shape. For your next visit, on the third visit, you'll get a complimentary manicure. On your fourth visit, you will receive a complimentary gift worth £50. And the reason why is because I read somewhere that in marketing, when we look at marketing, it takes 4 visits for the client to become regular client to you. So what could you do to engage them for the 4 visit? But if we don't want to go down that route, we do simple little bags. I'm not talking about huge bag with your menu in there, your loyalty card. You could have a welcome letter. I think welcome letter is so nice from the owner saying, you know, welcome to blah, blah salon. And we really value your custom. And just really, sometimes it's acknowledgement. And actually, when I look back at Bliss, and I didn't do that, but I thought it was so clever. It was Marcia when she created Bliss. They did this thing, a postcard, and on the postcard was written, "Without you, we are nothing." And every time the client came for treatment, the therapist had to write down a little something. Thank you for your visit, Valerie. Lovely to see you. Hope you have a nice holiday. Give it to the managers at the end. We put stamps on there, verify the postcard, because sometimes it was a bit like, hope you enjoyed your Brazilian was not the way forward. And what we did was then post them in the evening. She built the business just by thanking them. That's it. And I think we need to reconsider, because we are going to be, if you survive in this wave of being locked down, when you open up again, really step up with that loyalty, that care of that client.
I think that's great advice, I think, because so many salons, if they are able to reopen, are going to be so kind of reliant on that client loyalty that's stuck with them, and those clients coming back. So thanking them and making them feel involved is great advice. Thank you.
Really.
And we've had some comments actually over on Facebook about what you were saying about potentially changing hours. Just interesting, Lisa's commented, I identify with this, and I've recently reset my opening times and rotas to suit business needs. We used to have every other Saturday off, and Mondays was our day, which meant staff had to work 4 longer days. So we're now reduced to 2 late nights and less Saturdays off. Staff had to understand that if they want full-time hours and work-life balance, something has to give. So just an interesting example of, looking at what clients want and what's working and making those changes.
100%. And that's why it needs to work for you, a little bit like what I'm saying about the flossies. It needs to work for you. You're in charge now. And more than ever, we have got to be in control of, like, it's got to work that way. But the opposite side, where, this client who wants to give back to her team and wants to give them every other weekend off, I'm happy with whatever you do, as long as you know your budget. As long as it's not affecting your budget too much, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's we're coming to the end. So thank you so much, Valerie. I think we've got through most of the questions. If anyone else has any questions, keep typing them in Facebook, and we will try to get back to them. Valerie will be back next week, as she said, so there'll be plenty more time to cover lots of questions then at 12:30 next Thursday. So in the meantime, thank you so much, Valerie. It's been really useful. We've had loads of really, really positive comments saying thank you for all your advice. So appreciate that, and we will see you next week.
I will pop in all the links and everything for you on the live, but thank you so much for having me, and see you next week. Yes.
See you next week, and thanks everyone for joining us. We've got upskills content every single day, so keep an eye on our websites, Professional Beauty, Hairdressers Journal, and our PBHJ Ireland sites for the everything that's coming up for the rest of the week, and we'll see you soon. Thanks everyone. Bye.
See you. Have a good day.